Hi, I'm Mildred Gaddis. Thanks for joining us today. Today, it's about your money. Get your pens and pads ready because, folks, you're going to learn some things. I'm happy to welcome Mr. Ellis Liddell, president of ELE Wealth Management, as my guest today. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
You know, I always get excited because Ellis Liddell says that don't worry about what's happening with the economy. You can still make money, especially women. Let's talk about that. What's happening right now? People are scared to death, you know.
You know, and they shouldn't be, because this economy, it does this. It goes up and down. It's the ebbs and flow of the market. And housing. 10 years ago, was the Michigan housing market down or up? It was down. And then it went into a cycle where it ran up 8% every year. It's going to do that again. So you can't be up when the market's up, down when the market's down. Up because gas is down, and down when gas is up. You can't. You're just going to have to tie it to something that you want and set goals. Most people go through life without a goal. They have no idea what they want. They wake up every morning saying, well, I'm going to make it through this day. Well, that's a defeatist attitude from the beginning. So you got to have joy. As I look at the dress you're wearing, that was just a piece of rags hanging on a mannequin until you put it on. You brought that dress to life. And that's exactly how people have to be about their lives. They've got to bring it to life.
You know something? There are a lot of people who are the way I used to be about this whole money finance piece until I met you. I got to admit it. Just intimidated by the whole process. That's number one. Number two, I remember living as if my calendar had nothing but tomorrow on it. You know, I'll do it tomorrow.
Right.
I'll start saving. I'll worry about the future. And the future is now.
Tomorrow came a little quicker than you thought.
Oh, my goodness. And that baby grew up to be 17 and on her way to college. I'm telling you.
And looking at her own tomorrows.
Yes, yes, and it moved faster than a bullet. But here's what I've learned, especially with the college piece. And you tell us all the time about how easy it is. It's much easier than you think, and I did learn that. We see it as this just challenging, phenomenal task. But if we honor what our grandparents and our parents taught us years ago, and that was, you gotta pay yourself first.
Right.
You know, get it out of the way, you don't see it, and you can build, build, build. And you don't need a ton of money to do it.
No, you know, the first thing on their list in terms of, and as we go along, I'll talk about lists and things that they should put on it. The first thing on it should be budget. Many people don't have a budget. They've got a check register, but they don't have a budget. And if you have a budget, you know whom you owe, how much you owe them, and when will you be through paying them. That's the most important category, is when you're going to get out of debt.
Yes.
So the challenge with many people is, number one, have a budget. Get a budget, because a budget is just a snapshot of where you are. And that's so important. And that's, you know, grandparents, pay yourself first. You know, it's I don't want to call people a fool, but it really is a fool that gives everybody else their money and they don't save anything for themselves. And at the end of the day, you've got to know that snapshot. You've got to be able to look at your picture of your financial situation on a piece of paper, and it's called a budget.
You know, you often talk about in Detroit, people don't drive old cars.
No.
People have...
They call them classics here, and they really are classics. When you see an old car in Detroit, it really is a classic.
Yes. I mean, people have these Hummers and these big, huge SUVs that are parked out on the street. They don't own the property where they're sleeping. They don't have a driveway to park them. And I know that this is Detroit, the city that moved the world. Why is it we're not getting it?
You know what? It's because people measure their success by their car. And, you know, if I'm in Detroit, I'm an automaker, I want that to be the definition.
Absolutely.
I'd very much like for that to be the definition. However, the world doesn't see it that way, and the challenge is not that way in reality. In reality, you're measured by your assets, and a car has never been an asset.
You know, you talk about with the seminars, and want to certainly invite people to those on a monthly basis, but you talk about how a car depreciates, and we all know once you drive it off the car lot.
Right. You've already lost a third of the value, if only a third. There was a Pontiac car that came out, the Aztec. You drove it off the lot, it was worth $2,300. You paid $20,000 for it. The next day, it was already down. So things happen like that, and you've got to understand that you buy the car because you like the way it makes you feel. That's treating yourself. That's a feel-good. And it's okay to have a feel-good, but at the same time, don't make that be your asset.
You know what I found out? Buying a pre-owned car that I really like makes me feel good.
And it should, because that's going to hold value better than that car that you bought brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And in Michigan, people don't drive cars a lot of miles because most things are close for us Detroiters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because they're close, you can pick up a nice, especially luxury car that won't even have many miles on it.
You know, I remember when I attended your first seminar, I was surprised at the number of women who came.
Right.
And when the question and answer period came, I was surprised at the depth of knowledge that so many of these women had.
You know what? I think that there are a few people who are very intimidated by the process, and there are a few people who said, if it's to be, it's up to me. And many of them took books and started reading. They came to more and more seminars and took advantage of this free educational opportunity that we give each month. So I think that's the thing. And then what happens, you find out that there's more people out there with more knowledge than you believe people have about money. And it gives you more confidence. Recently, we were in Panama, and Elise has been taking swimming classes. That's my daughter. And she was a little intimidated by the water. And this other little 4-year-old boy, he was diving in the water up and down. Elise looked at me and said, Daddy, I can't wait to get back to my swimming class. So she's going to change everything. Well, sometimes when you see somebody else achieving, it lets you know, I too can do that. And that's human nature.
There are some people I know who have been told the honeymoon is over. The auto manufacturer they work for has sent them a nice little note. Your services are no longer needed. And what happened, they didn't see it coming. They ignored the signs.
Right.
It wasn't that they weren't warned, but they ignored the signs. And they were having a good time. They were making more than some attorneys I know.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
PhDs.
Okay, more than some doctors I know. And they found themselves locked out of the game. They made all this money. They didn't save any. What's left for people like that?
They got to reinvent themselves. I mean, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. They're going to have to reinvent themselves. That would be number 2 on the list. Reinvent yourself.
Okay.
You've got to decide what it is in life that you really want. What's your real calling? You know, there are a lot of Jonases in our world. In other words, these are the people running away from their calling. If you find people who make money, they make money because they would do what they're doing for free. But they just happen to be able to charge $300, $400, $500 an hour to do it. So, but they would be talking to the guy on the corner for nothing. So when you find that thing that excites you, that's what you work towards. And other people will recognize your excitement, and it's contagious. They will get drawn in and want to do more and more with you. There are very few towns that they could have that seminar for 7 years straight and it still draw over 100 people each month. We're still doing it. We're still drawing it. And you come out and you ask people sometimes, how many new people here tonight? And what happens? All those hands go up.
All those hands go up. It amazes me, which reminds me just how fast and swiftly time is moving. Children are growing up. They're going away. People are finding themselves at home. They're finding that the house that they had for the kids, they don't need that space anymore. As people prepare in this Michigan economy, and you have such a healthy outlook about the economy, don't worry about stick around long enough. It's going to change. It's going to change.
Like the weather.
Yes. So you know, how do people readjust? You know, we all want to do okay. I know that as I get older, I don't plan to downgrade my quality of living. I don't mean
right.
I want to be comfortable. I don't want to have to compromise.
Yes. You know what? I think that's psychological. I think that many people, you get pretty much what you dream about. What goals you set in life, you rarely ever exceed that which you can conceive. And I remember a long time reading a poem that said, what the mind can conceive, it can also achieve. And it really is true. In the 100-meter dash, Maurice Green wanted to run 9.86 and break the world's record. He did it. He ran exactly 9.86. He broke the world's record. And then Osafa Powell, he dreamed of running 9.7 anything. Well, he broke it with 9.79.
When we come back, let's talk about reaching those dreams, because some of us have some that have been laying dormant, and we can get there. Mr. Liddell, when we come back, is going to tell you how you can get there. And he has some great solutions, especially for women who want to get there and not in a long period of time. So it's about your money right here with Ellis Liddell. I'm Mildred Gaddis.